to another video with Arduino. I'm sorry I haven't been posting so often. I've just been really busy lately. But now let's get back into the swing of things with programming the Arduino Smart Car. And here is kind of what it looks like when it's on. What you want to do is your battery, switch it to on. And so let's hop into actually seeing this thing in motion. So we have our Arduino Smart Car, and what we're going to be looking at today is, according to this manual, there are 3 modes that we're all going to be looking at: the line tracking, obstacle avoidance, and auto follow mode. And a neat thing is that if you look at this, you can tell just by the color of this blinking light. So if we switch it, this will be green, it starts following. This will be yellow, red, and then let's switch it back. So, that's a cool look at the Arduino Smart Car. So now let's actually hop into it. Quick side note, another thing which may not have been so obvious is that, and you can tell that this is on just by when the lights are on. If you come over here, you can see the on and off switch. Make sure that is on. Make sure to charge this battery regularly with USB-C. Another thing to make sure that you're doing is that when you're uploading code, let's say, you want to make sure that this switch is here if you're uploading. But if you're using like the app, you're using your remote, it should probably stay on the cam side. You can see it. You can see the text right there. The 2 things that are going to be controlling the car today is this remote and the app that I'm going to be showing you on my phone. In a future video, we're definitely going to look at the remote, talking about all of these buttons and all of these numbers, what they mean, and actually how they can be useful in a program. And Ellie Robot, which is a app that I installed on my phone, I'm going to take you through the process of downloading it, connecting it to the car, and then I'll show you controls with both devices. The first thing we're going to be looking at is the remote, the Lego remote. In the future, we're definitely going to make a project with this. Something that I'm looking forward to is that we're going to be doing each outputs for these different buttons. But as of right now, what's going on is that the Lego robot is taking in commands from each of the buttons, since it sends an infrared. So what's going to happen is that each button corresponds to a different task, like a regular remote. So what we have here are the arrows. Obviously the arrow suggests which way it's going in: front, back, left, right, and okay is supposed to be stop. I'm just going to be talking about the first 2, 1 and 2, which are this one is the line tracking module, and this one is the obstacle avoidance mode. You can see the full list of values or what each thing does here. And so that's essentially what is going on with the remote. And so now let's see it in action. All right, so here we are with the Arduino Smart Car. The first thing we're going to use is the remote. Let's go forward, back, forward again. This way, it's more like a 180-degree turn. The opposite way, and backwards. All right, so this is just the basic functionalities, the multi directions, and then let's look at the other different modes. All right, so we're going to be testing out the 2 key features of the Smart Car, which is the obstacle avoidance mode and the line tracking. So let's start off with the obstacle avoidance mode. So what we're going to have to do is take our remote and press 2. Press 2, changes color. You see how I'm putting my hand and stopping. And off it goes. See? It stops there and turns back this way. All right, let's stop it and we can return back. And now let's go test out the line tracking module. All right, so I made a small track to showcase line tracking module mode. So all we have to do is go to our remote and press 1 to initiate the line tracking mode, and you're gonna see the light turn green. So it's gonna go around It's a cool little track. You can be really creative with it. Make longer tracks. Just know that it's a little bit more difficult for it to go around the edges, especially sharp ones. See that it's much better and more smooth when it's approaching this line. A lot faster and easier. So we'll talk about this, the way it processes it, and use the line tracking module to initiate the line tracking mode. Alright, so the first thing that we want to do is go to the App Store. Just wait for it to load. And then we want to search up the name of the app, which is LE Robot. And so you see I already have it downloaded. Open the app once it's downloaded. So it should look something like this. And then what you want to do is go make sure that it is on Robot Car 4. And so that the robot looks like this and not like this one. Make sure it's on Robot Car 4. And then what we're going to do is go to Control. And this is essentially what is going to control the robot. But before that, if you already started and tried to move the joystick, it's going to say the device is not connected. So what we need to do is exit out of this. We need to go to Settings. And then you can see here, my networks, I already connected. It should say Alegu dash and then a number, which is the address of your camera module. So now let's connect to that. The thing about this is that it's not actually internet or Wi-Fi, but it's more of just connection. So you can't use any apps basically with this set as your Wi-Fi. So now let's go here. We're gonna go to Controls, and then you see these two clip things. Click it, and then it'll say that it's linked. The device is paired correctly. If it does not say that and the Wi-Fi does not appear for you, I'm going to address that towards the end of the video if you have any errors. So what you can see on the side are the 3 different modes, and we're going to be reviewing that with the Arduino car. So here's what the smart car looks like on the app. I'm going to go to the top right mode, which is line tracking, which is obvious by the symbol. So let's click the line tracking and let's see the camera. Pretty cool. And yeah, so that's the line tracking module. Now it's stuck. So here's what the smart car looks like on the app. I'm going to go to the top right mode, which is line tracking, which is obvious by the symbol. So let's click the line tracking and let's see the camera. Pretty cool. And yeah, so that's the line tracking module. Now it's stuck. And then obviously the last thing you can do is control it. So alright, so we've looked at what the Arduino Smart Car can do, but the next thing we have to look at is why can it do it, or how can it do it. So the first thing we can look at is what is called the infrared receiver, and essentially this black bulb looking thing receives coded signals from the remote. So essentially when you press a button on the remote, the signal transfers over, this thing catches the signal and does the corresponding action. So let's say since 1 is for line tracking mode, if you press 1, the signal travels, goes and hits the infrared receiver, and it takes in this signal and says, what does 1 mean? It means engaged line tracking mode. And so thus it does the line tracking mode, and then the Arduino Smart Car is able to be used. The next thing we can look at is the USB port or the universal serial bus port. Essentially, it just allows communication. And so if you remember in our last video, or our previous videos, we always use this wire with the Arduino. We plug this in, and then we plug the other end into the computer. And when you plug it into the computer, it allows you to upload the code to the Arduino, and thus it can carry out its actions. So this USB port essentially allows code to be uploaded. Another thing to notice here, like I mentioned before, this is the upload in the cam. Upload, if it's on upload, it allows code to be uploaded, and cam is used for the app. You can see this red, this is the reset button. If you come over here, these are all the connections. Remember previously with the regular Arduino, we were looking at GND plus 5E. You can see that all of these are indicated here with the numbers. So that's really helpful. A1, A0, those are the pins, and then ground, and then you have 5E. And then you see that you also have all of the pins connected. And so this is important when you're analyzing the code because it allows communication between the boards, and instead of these actual pins, they use connections with wires. This is the GY521, and the rest is fairly simple. It's just connections between the two boards, and as mentioned before. Oh, and another thing is make sure that these wires correspond correctly. But yeah, that's basically all the hardware parts for it. The connections between the wires and the plugs are important as well. This is the servo motor, and as we saw before, those are with the pins. But besides that, that's mainly it for the hardware. So let's see some common problems with the code and software and how to fix them. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is this line tracking module. You can see it's labeled right, middle, and left. Essentially, I think what happens is, so let's say we have the robot approaching this line. So let's say it veers off course this way. The code tells it that it's on its right, it's a little bit skewed to the right, so then it like repositions itself so that it stays in the middle. If it's left, it repositions itself to stay in the middle, and thus it's allowed to stay in the middle and follow the line properly. This would also make sense why it's harder for it to cross more sharp turns, because let's say like it's like immediately gets over here, the robot gets all wacky and then it doesn't know where to go. Last thing is the camera module and the ultrasonic sensor for its ability to do the obstacle avoidance mode. So essentially what happens is, let's say if it approaches a wall, it's going to detect it. I've seen some people where they're able to have the ultrasonic sensor move this part. So once it goes this way, it detects an area, and so what essentially it does is it tells the Arduino Smart Car if it's within this distance, we want to back away, and then what it does is it keeps continuing on this path, and then every few times it will turn this way, and then this way to make sure there's nothing in its path. And then let's say if there is something in its path, it will go back and then go into a way where it is not obstructing the path. Alright, so this is the second part of the video where I'm going to talk about some of the problems that I had with the smart car and how to fix them. So one of the problems I had was a software issue where I used the Arduino previously, and so the code for the controls and like the app and the remote were all wiped. So I had to reinstall the code. So what you have to do is you go to this website, legu.com/download, And so essentially what happens when you have this problem is if whatever you're trying to do, like if you're trying to point the remote and make it move, it won't work even though the internet is connected, the app works fine, but it just won't move at all no matter what controls you use. So essentially what you have to do is you go to here, you go to this website, type in Smart Car, and we come over here. So what you want to do is click to download. You download this whole file. And so what's going to happen is you're going to get this file. No, you're not going to get that file. You're going to get this one. So what happens with this is when you click this, you go into this file and then you click 2, and then I'm pretty sure it works for all 3, but essentially you click one of these folders, click this folder, and then you want this one that says Inno. So what you can do is you can take this file and copy it to downloads. So what it will do is it will appear when you want to, for your Arduino, it will appear when you open it over here. So open, say, and then we open the Inno file. So you right here. So then you would just easily open it over here. But once you open it with the Arduino, and it should work with these multiple tabs. And a problem that I was encountering was that some of the libraries I did not have. So let's take a random library. So let's say Arduino.h, right? Let's say that you don't have that. So what you have to do is you go into Tools, go down to Manage Libraries. It should take a while for the libraries to show up, but essentially what you want to do is search for this library. So in this case, it would be Arduino.h. So let's search it up. It's downloading all the libraries. So we're going to search up Arduino.h, and then once it shows up, we are going to download and install the latest version or whatever version you want. Arduino.h, search it up. It does take a while because there are just so many libraries. So let's say Arduino Cloud Provider Examples right here, and then you can just press install and then everything should work fine. So that's basically the problem that I was encountering that I spent a few hours trying to solve. Why my Arduino, the smart car would not move or would not follow any of the controls. And what is a common cause of this is if you use your Arduino previously, like I used my Arduino or this Arduino for the smart car, I used it for my previous video and it erased all my code, so I had to go through this in order to restore the code, and now it works perfectly fine. So if you're encountering the same problem, just make sure to follow these steps and everything should work out fine. And for one last problem that I was facing, you see with the servo motor, you see this wire and you see how it's going to one of these two. Well, I realized that instead of this one, it must go to the second one, and the way you orient it is also important. You see how the brown is on this and how the yellow and the orange is in the middle and the yellow is on the right of the smart car. This is just very important if you're trying to use the camera, and in the app you can orient it in a different way that I will show on screen. So besides that, if you have any other problems with the camera or the Wi-Fi, I will link that video from the actual Legu official account in the video. So that's going to be it. I really hope you enjoyed learning and looking more into the smart car. I think this is going to be it of the smart car series, and in the next video I think we're going to go into the IR remote and how its functionalities work and probably create a project with it. So that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and with that I'll see you in the next video.